Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good afternoon, morning, evening, or whatever time it is you find yourself listening to the latest episode of the Cyber Uncut podcast. My name's David Hollingworth, and I'm the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by my colleague Daniel Croft.
I got it quickly.
You did? Okay, cool. All right. Make me feel bad. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. It's been a while since you and I have sat down here, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some pretty big things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll get to them.
News has built up.
The news has built up. But we're just even talking about pretty much just this week. We could spend hours just talking about, I think it's been a fortnight at least since you and I sat down together, because you sat down with Liam before, after Easter, because I was on holiday. Yeah.
So
good thing it's like riding a bike.
It is, yeah. Back to it.
All right, so let's do our traditional kickoff, and let's start what's been happening in AI. And Meta has pulled out their latest AI tool. So walk us through that one.
Yeah, so they've got their own little standalone ChatGPT rival.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's doing it.
Yep, makes sense. And, you got to differentiate yourself somehow. So why not differentiate yourself by just using all the information you've already got with people who have Facebook and Instagram accounts?
I'm sorry, say again?
Yeah, they're pretty much saying, we're personalizing this AI to give you better responses, drawing on the information you've already chosen to share on Meta products, like your profile and content you like or engage with.
Well, I think there's a Dylan Mulvaney joke about some people are going to have to get real cool about real weird stuff real soon if they're using my Facebook account.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I don't use mine too much, and I feel pretty good about that.
I used to be one of those really regular posters. I had a couple of groups that I adminned. Funnily enough, before we started this recording, our boss, Liam Garman, was talking about, you guys probably have some really interesting opinions, don't you? I was like, yes, we do. We are remarkably bullshit on our podcast.
The last podcast that he and I did, as you probably heard, we do get opinionated in this podcast,
absolutely.
But we share that opinion largely.
Yeah. So I used to run a very bullshit left-wing comedy thing group on Facebook. Some of our other groups I'm not going to mention in polite society. So this AI is going to be quite the monster.
Yeah, so the actual details of and specifics of it weren't really kind of spoken about, I don't think, too much. This was done at their LlamaCon, and now I believe Llama is like one of their AI names or models or something like that. So LlamaCon, and they had like Sam Altman there, and like all these, Hey, we've got Sam Altman up now. Now introducing the one you should get instead, our AI. A bit weird. So RMIT Professor of Business Analytics, Kok Leong Ong, I apologize for the pronunciation, says it could be a risk, and he was saying Meta has already a huge amount of information about its users. Its new AI app could pose security and privacy issues. Users will need to navigate potentially confusing settings and user agreements, which is true. This might be an opt-out kind of thing.
Almost certainly will
it's
be.
Not
and
going
it's going
to be opt-in.
It's going to be hard to get to in your settings. It's going to be easy to miss. And like a lot of these things on Facebook, it'll probably automatically turn on every now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we've actually reset a bunch of things. So all of these settings are back on and all this kind of rubbish. It is really, really looking like... I know I've got friends, I have those concerns myself, but I'm long just come to terms with them. You want to distance yourself as much as you can from AI because you don't want your data on there. I've got friends we've got co-workers like that. I've got friends like that. It is only going to get harder when, the big social media companies that we use every single day give us all but an option, really.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this comes at the same time as Zuckerberg has said, the average American only has 3 friends but wants 15. And we're going to respond to that demand by creating AI friends?
This I don't know too much about.
I don't want to know too much about. It just feels, I don't like it.
It's
I
very
don't
dystopian.
like this future, Daniel. I don't like it at all.
Yeah. Curse us for living in interesting times.
Speaking of interesting times, being a Chinese curse, did you see that segue?
Yeah, well done.
So a military blogger I'm remarkably fond of, Perun, recently thought he would look at Trump's tariff-led trade war and wonder, where might he have gotten those numbers from? Put some questions into ChatGPT and pretty much came out with exactly what Trump did, prompting the idea that Trump and his cronies probably did exactly that. They went to ChatGPT, let the AI sort it for them, and boom, tariff regime.
Well, it's like people were saying, about Trump mentioning, this is definitely a bit of a tangent, but Trump talking about Alcatraz opening up. And what had played on television the night before in Florida? Escape from Alcatraz.
Yeah. Look, he's focused, man. He's a very, very focused, high-functioning genius.
His speech about it, he says it's a movie at one point. So I think he's a Clint Eastwood fan. It is Clint Eastwood, right? I believe. I haven't seen the film.
I think it was.
I think it is.
I think you're right. Anyway,
yes.
Getting vaguely back on topic to other things that AI can do, designing jet planes.
Apparently so. China has admitted that they're using DeepSeek.
Our old friend DeepSeek. Yeah. Great to have them back on the podcast.
Yeah, they've been a little distant of late. Using DeepSeek to assist in the design of next generation fighter jets. So they've got the J something or other.
Yeah,
I'm not.
This isn't Defense Connect. We can be a little bit vague on that stuff. But we recently saw these next generation fighters and a next gen bomber at an air show. So there's something working at the moment. But I guarantee you, these are not strike ready aircraft.
Additionally, it's not like they're going in and designing everything. No, by the way, like it is processes that. And like this would be in everything. I don't think it's as shocking as the headline sounds.
You're probably
in
right,
everything when you have AI doing basic, repetitive tasks, really small things where you can get actual personnel doing other things. That's what it sounds like it's being used.
I think you're right. The same way that coders use it, right?
Yeah.
If they can get their code 80% done by AI, and then the last 20% bring the human in to make sure it's not broken, it's probably exactly what these guys are doing.
Yeah, and look. Realistically, I actually think this was something that was always going to happen. It was AI, a powerful AI in terms of its benefits for engineering and things like that is obviously like a very lucrative and, attractive, kind of thing.
Yeah, because these military contracts, they take billions of dollars, sometimes trillions of dollars in some cases, and may end up going nowhere. If there's a way to cut through that, obviously, people are going to take that opportunity.
Save time and money.
Yeah. Unfortunately, AI is surprisingly bad at complex math.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird. We have these machines called computers that we designed to be good at math, and now we've made them bad at math.
Well, I guess when you chuck in a slightly more human thinking element, you get confused.
You really don't want an AI hallucinating engineering problems for your 6th-gen fighter aircraft.
No.
Or if you're outside of China, maybe you do.
Yeah, maybe you do. But
go China.
It'll be interesting because, obviously these jets will not be exclusively used for Chinese operations.
No. These will be sold on. This is what all great military powers do.
Yeah. But pretty much, Shenyang Aircraft Design Institute lead designer Wang Yongqing. I've definitely gotten that one wrong.
Yep.
Confirmed that AI and DeepSeek are being used for this. He said the technology has already shown promising potential for application, providing new ideas and approaches for future aerospace research and development. This is an important step and points to the future direction of aerospace research.
And that's an interesting one. It's like provide new ideas. It's almost like they're actually wanting the AI to hallucinate just enough.
Yeah.
In a way that a human mind never would, and then go, you know what? That's interesting. Let's follow that.
It is
see
also
where that leads.
Really sad to see humans looking for AI for creativity, though.
Oh, humans looking to AI for military creativity.
Yeah.
I think there was a whole movie series about don't teach the AI war.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's great. What could go wrong?
The first two are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And now we'll take a break, and we'll be back with a little bit more of our bread and butter. Let's look at the week in cybercrime. And welcome back to Cyber Uncut. I'm David. He is
Daniel Croft.
Correct. Bing.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, it is. I mean, there is never a slow week in cybercrime. Even if there might be a slow week locally, there is always dozens. Like I guarantee you, my phone's going to vibrate about 3 times during our chat.
Yep.
When one of our threat trackers goes ransomware attack.
Yep.
But this week, and actually I think last week as well, it's all a bit about big time. High street, as they say in the UK retailers.
Yeah, so this was not a domino effect, but one after the other. We started off with Marks and Spencer. So Marks and Spencer, for anyone who doesn't know UK retail.
Also known as M&S.
M&S, yeah, that's how I'll probably refer to it from now on. They've got over 1,000 stores in the UK, and UK retailers do this brilliant thing that Australian retailers don't seem to do, and they sell everything. At places like M&S will sell your groceries, your clothes, they'll do furniture, they'll do electronics, and it is awesome. Right?
It's weird walking into a shop where on one hand there's food and booze, and on the other hand there's couture. And it's what is this place and why do I love it so much?
Yeah, it's the same. Asda and all of that, right? Anyway, they reported some, like, a cyber incident.
Yeah.
And they took some systems offline for precautions.
Yeah.
This involved, like, their click and collect that eventually turned into their all online payments as well being taken offline. So if you wanted to buy something through the app or website, they started sending warehouse staff home because there were no click and collects. People were angry. And then about a week or so later, Co-op, another UK retailer, which is more traditionally just food, they're democratically run by staff members, customers, really nice little place, also disclosed a cyber incident.
Yep.
And then, about a few days after that, Harrods, everyone knows Harrods, also disclosed. Now, interestingly, all three organizations said, customers, do not worry about a thing at this point. You don't have to do anything, which I think is kind of terrible advice.
Okay, how so?
You should be monitoring your bank statements. You should be keeping an eye out that any of your data has been stolen. There was one person, I believe she was either an M&S or Co-op customer, and she said that someone called her from X company, whichever one it was. I think it was M&S. Saying, hey, there's an issue with your online order. I've got the last 4 digits of your credit card information to verify that I'm real. Can you hand me over this? And she picked up on it, luckily.
Yeah.
But that is a sign that there has been some data compromise.
So we were talking about a particular phrase that pops up in crisis comms a lot earlier this week. Out of an abundance of caution.
Yes.
Everybody would have heard this, as I was pointing out to Daniel, heard this all throughout COVID. Out of an abundance of caution, we are doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to this kind of crisis comms, out of an abundance of caution, you should warn your customers. You should never say you have nothing to worry about, because if it turns out they have something to worry about, you have opened yourself to so much bad.
It very much, it's kind of like customers looking out the window, see something scary. What's out there? Company goes, nothing, don't worry about it. There's something out there, but don't worry about it.
Nothing to see.
So, yeah, getting on to who done it.
Who done it?
M&S. It was originally believed to be Scattered Spider. This is based on CrowdStrike, Phoenix 24, and Microsoft investigations.
Yep.
Scattered Spider.
Scattered Spider is we know that name. We've heard them before in relation to Alpha or Alpha V. Still don't know how to. But that was the team behind the big Las Vegas hacks a couple of years back. And it looks like they're an affiliate who is shopping themselves around to various ransomware actors. Yeah,
so the thing is, Scattered Spider they're an English-speaking hacking collective, right? And they were using the DragonForce ransomware. Now, DragonForce is a ransomware as a service operation.
Yep.
And they're also the group that claimed the Co-op cyber attack a little while later. Co-op went, we actually did lose data. At the same time, DragonForce went, it was us.
Yeah.
Right? And so we did find that there were some ties between the two. They very well could be working together. DragonForce is not an English-speaking operation.
No, it does not appear to be.
They're currently launching attacks on UK English-speaking companies.
Yeah.
So there could be a tie in there. None of that's been confirmed, but it's kind of come to the consensus, or there's been like a universal conclusion. DragonForce is responsible for all three.
Yeah. Now, whether Scattered Spider is working as an affiliate for DragonForce...
Very well could be.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it is so murky, that part of the world, that Daniel and I are still very much getting our heads around this, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think anyone else that's working in cyber that's really looking into this is 100% either in a position where they know and can't say, or they don't know.
And the BBC have reported that there is evidence of DragonForce code present in their networks or something similar, haven't they?
As in the retailers' networks.
Yeah.
So that was kind of found as well by Microsoft, Phoenix 24, and CrowdStrike when they discovered the DragonForce ransomware. The NCSC, the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre,
Yep.
it's getting involved now.
Yeah.
It's issued a warning to all UK CISOs. Okay, this is big. Be on the lookout.
Actually, they've said it to global retailers. Like every big retailer in the world should be aware of this. They've said, like, no, you need to learn from this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge wave. They're also working with all three, but they've not been able to kind of conclude that it is all DragonForce or if the attacks are linked in any way.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got insights, is what they've said.
I mean, so this only started happening last week, and we'll get to this in the next 10 or 15 minutes, but dealing with this stuff is non-trivial.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the wake of a cyber attack, you've got so many moving parts, and if you're not ready for it, you're going to be behind the 8 ball instantly. Even if you are ready for it, you have a slog ahead of you to work out what data has been impacted, how it's been exfiltrated, all this kind of stuff. Are you working on a system which has been encrypted? In which case, if you don't have backups ready, then your business processes are going down. Yeah. And that's what's happened to some of these retailers, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a big one. It's massively ongoing. We haven't heard much from Harrods. I don't know if that means they're the least affected
or the most affected and they're handling their comms well. It is impossible to tell.
No. But yeah.
What I find fascinating is, we know that these operators are opportunistic. They will use various technologies to scan public-facing networks and go, okay, we can get into that one, we can get into that one. But targeting like 3 of the biggest UK retailers, it's either they got the first one and went, gosh, that was easy. Let's look at some others.
Yeah.
Or it's actually a campaign targeted. And it's either or. It's like it's a real toss of the coin.
There very well could be some shared infrastructure. There could be a third party at play. We just don't know.
Yeah.
But a third party or some sort of shared infrastructure where they've gotten a credential of some kind or anything like that would make a lot of sense, particularly where it is believed to be all 3. But at the same time,
there's every likelihood that there could be a third party logistics provider or something else that is the Trojan horse that has gotten these guys onto their networks.
Yeah.
But again, it's so hard to tell.
Yeah, we can't say anything for sure at this stage.
Now, DragonForce is interesting because, bit of background. Sometime our time last night or in the morning or early this morning, LockBit, very, very prominent once upon a time ransomware operation, their site got taken over. But not by law enforcement this time.
No.
What it looks like is they got taken over by some fellow hackers. And for a good long while, I'm just going to find this because I'm totally prepared, as I always am. That's not what I was looking for. Yeah, so... I love this. If you went to LockBit's leak site on the dark web, here's what it said. Nothing but, don't do crime. Crime is bad. Kisses and hugs from Prague.
Yeah. Now, we did see, I forget which, it might have been Everest Ransomware, had similar messages on their site when they got done. It might not have been Everest. But that don't do crime, crime is bad, has appeared before. It's spacing on where, but I've seen it before.
And also, this is the thing. We know that these criminal groups will often target each other's infrastructure to try and take them down because it is a competitive market.
And they also have money. As we know, cybercrime is a very, very lucrative operation. It makes more money than, was it the entire movie industry or something?
There's a lot of money. Just take our word on it.
Yeah. It's an astronomical amount of money.
But on top of that message, there was also a zip archive, which was a full database dump of basically LockBit's back end.
Yeah.
We're talking Bitcoin wallet addresses. We're talking chat logs of ransom negotiations. We're talking infrastructure, custom ransomware builds, basically full transparency into what LockBit has done.
We have to also remember this is a relatively new back end too. They had LockBit 3.0 for a long time. They got absolutely hammered by law enforcement.
Yeah.
They dropped back, rebuilt for like the 40th time.
Yeah.
Came back out with LockBit 4.0. They haven't been particularly active.
They were reusing a lot of old data to
yes.
make themselves look as though they were doing fresh attacks, which they were not. Obviously, law enforcement action has put a dent in them.
Oh, massively. I think they're barely going. They're on life support, these guys.
It almost makes you sad, but then you remember they're criminals and do not deserve our pity. But anyway, they've recovered from it, apparently. Now, also, what I'm about to say is translated via Google Translate from the original Russian, which is the latest message on the LockBit site. So apologies for how terrible this is going to sound. On May 7, they hacked the light panel with auto-registration for everyone, took the database, not a single decryptor, and not a single stolen company data was affected. I figure out how they hacked and am doing a rebuild. The full panel and blog are functioning. It was allegedly hacked by some hacker, undescribable, from Prague. Give me info for him, who he is. I will pay money if the info is real. So basically, LockBit's like, we want to know who this guy is. We're going to go after him. We are very, very unhappy.
So they're looking for bug bounty guys or white hat hackers.
Or, according to security researcher Kevin Beaumont, he thinks it's DragonForce that did it.
Yes.
And I suspect he understands there may be a link between Prague and DragonForce, which would make a lot of sense. We know DragonForce are not English speakers.
Yep.
But it's just wild. Alon Gal, who is the chief technology officer for an Israeli company called Hudson Rock, which I imagine must be a reference to Rock Hudson. We're not going to go into that right now. Called this an absolute boon for law enforcement and security researchers.
Yeah.
Because they can go through and look at how their encryptors work, how their ransomware works.
Yeah.
They can look at their negotiations. Somebody pointed out I think as a response to Kevin on Mastodon, where Kevin shared that, was it'd be interesting to go through the data and compare what some companies have said their response was to what they may have done.
Yeah.
There could well be people who go, I didn't pay a ransom. No, you paid a ransom.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating slice of just how cutthroat this community of hackers and ransomware operators is. And we could be seeing the fallout of this for months to come. Like, I think it was early last month that Black Baster, all their chat logs got leaked.
Yep.
And that is still informing. Every now and then we'll get a report, as we saw in these Black Baster chat logs.
Yep.
We will absolutely see this from LockBit. We're going to see a lot of information come out from people like, I imagine, your CrowdStrikes, your Palo Alto Networks, your Rapid7s, as they analyze this. Presumably they got to it in time, because clearly that zip archive was only up for a short amount of time.
I think we're also going to see that this is the beginning of quite a big growth for DragonForce themselves. Like, I mean, I think February 2022 or 3 they first appeared, 2023. And just in 2024 alone, they racked up 93 victims.
They went hard.
And even then,
they went hard.
We didn't hear a lot about them. I think these are a lot of international small businesses. Now, however, they've gone after 3 massive retailers and the former top ransomware operation.
If what we have been hearing from...
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If so, DragonForce is about to go nuts. The final piece of this really interesting puzzle with DragonForce is their leak site is currently down for maintenance.
This is a weird one.
It's a weird one. So they haven't posted anything to the leak site since late last month in April.
Yep.
And currently, what it says is, and we'll be back on the 29th of April. And they're not back yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could well be. We've got a lot of data. They're actually building their hosting infrastructure to share it. And maybe they're waiting for a big reveal of everything they stole. It's what I feel.
Yeah. These big ransomware actors are very dramatic and theatrical a lot of the time, which is very entertaining until you remember that they're horrible, horrible criminals.
Horrible people bartering real persons' identities, data, costing businesses, in some cases, which can afford the loss, but most of them, no, they cannot.
Yeah.
Driving businesses out of work. I mean, Daniel and I do this all day. We try and find the light side into it a lot. We feel like we know some of these gangs because we report on them quite so much.
Yeah.
Some of them even contact us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, if we never write another ransomware news story, we'll be happy.
Oh, 100%.
We might be out of a job, but I think we'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, well, the jobs would be safer because at least they're not going to be hacked.
That's a good point. Okay, so let's bring this a little bit closer to home. And this isn't a new hack, but I think it's very illustrative of some of the challenges of dealing with this kind of data breach incident that's led by ransomware. So, Spectrum Medical Imaging, Sydney healthcare provider, does what it says on the tin: X-rays, scans, oncology, lots of kind of stuff. They've got offices all throughout Sydney. And in January, they got hit by who was it? Ink Ransom.
Yeah.
It was Ink Ransom. And in February, we discovered that, and they started contacting patients. That happened in February. That was the last time we wrote about them. We now know that as of the middle of April, they are still continuing to contact patients as they discover the data that has been compromised. I was contacted by one of their patients who was not happy with this, and I spoke to some of their patients in February as well, and they were unhappy.
Yeah.
And I can understand it. Like, I can't... We've said this about Genea, about any number of healthcare providers who've been hit. There's not much more personal than your medical data that could be compromised in an attack like this. But at the same time, going through that data forensically to work out just who has been impacted is hard. It will take some time. And from where I sit, I'm glad that Spectrum's putting in the work.
Yeah.
And it is a matter of putting in the work. You are never going to catch everybody in that first initial forensic scan of the data. It is going to take hard yakka from your internal people, because a lot of this data, and you and I have had a look at some of it, it's a scan, but there's no name attached to it.
No.
So you need to go back and go through your records and work out who that person is and what scan is attached to them. And if their network has been encrypted, as it very likely has, then they're working from first principles.
Yeah,
so their third-party people will be helping them. They'll be working on it internally. We don't know the state of their backups. I mean, maybe they weren't exactly what they should have had for that.
Sure,
we don't know. But nonetheless, it is a mountain of work to go through that.
Yeah. And you're also supposed to be operating a business at the same time.
At the same time.
Because especially as, being in the medical field as well, that's not something you can just halt, regardless of making sure you have an income. It's not something you can halt because there are people that depend on you for medical reasons.
We saw this with Genea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really tricky one for them. But you're right to commend them on still doing this. It's
they're sticking with it, and it's I think a lot of the people who are still getting, and I dare say people will still be getting those SMSs and emails from Spectrum. I can understand 2 months after the fact being angry. Well, why am I only finding out now? Because they're only finding out now.
Yeah. They're telling you as soon as they know.
Yeah. Look, any business worth their salt, the minute they know, they'll tell you. But that it's that knowing process, which is so difficult. And we know what these data dumps sometimes look like. They can be really, really hard to navigate.
Yeah.
Because the file systems could be completely broken. It's a challenging environment, and I feel for everybody at Spectrum, and I feel for all the patients impacted by that leak. But yeah, just an idea of how long it can take. A long time.
Yeah.
And on that, we're going to throw to a break, and we'll be back very shortly. Welcome back to Cyber Uncut. He is
Daniel Croft.
And I'm David Hollingworth. Now, where are we finishing up today?
We're going to summarize our event that we just had, our summit and awards.
How could I forget?
Yes.
Oh, I know how I could forget. Thinks of the hangover I had the next morning.
Yeah.
So last week, we've been talking about this for a while. We had our yearly Australian Cyber Summit and Australian Cyber Awards.
Our third one ever.
Third one. Yes, our third one as well. Not just the brands, but Daniel and mine, third ones.
Yeah.
We're veterans. We've done all of them.
Yep.
So this is a great one because the first time we've run one in Sydney. It's the first time we've run one. I'm very bad at those RW
at
combinations.
This venue, I believe.
This venue.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. I hope some of you listening were there and that you enjoyed it as much as we did. The summit was great. We had some amazing speakers. The New South Wales police guy.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, getting a real understanding of the role that the New South Wales Cyber Police plays.
State-based law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because you and I write about the AFP all the time. We write about like international law enforcement. But seeing what these guys do at their coalface was absolutely eye-opening.
Yeah, it really is. A kind of the perspective that no one really thinks. If you're hacked, call the cops. Honestly, why has that never crossed anyone's mind, including my own? It's a really, really brilliant take, and what he shared was just phenomenal. I think it was brilliant.
His report on simboxing was great. Just these photos, and here's a bag full of phone sims, and here's the hardware on it, and just talk about the sheer scale of those kind of operations.
Yeah, hardcore police work.
Yeah.
Gets.
Yeah, he was marvelous.
Yeah,
We had some excellent panels. Microsoft opened up the day. We had a couple of really good networking sessions. Just really, really super informative.
Matt Croft, by the way. I
Thank you very
don't want to
much.
skip out
Yes.
any names.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt.
But then, of course, in the evening, once we all changed out of our business suits into our tuxedos, it was time for the Australian Cyber Awards, and it was good. It was great. I mean, it's always a good night for us, right? So we get to sit around a table, food comes to us, booze comes to us, and we do consume it.
And I just want to once again say congratulations to all the nominees and everybody who won, because
I want to call some of these people out because it's worthwhile. So, first of all, thanks to CrowdStrike. They're our principal partner for the awards, and they supported us superbly.
Yeah.
Give you a sense of scale if you weren't there on the night. 29 categories, 14 individual and 15 group categories. And as someone who was involved in the shortlisting process before it went to our judges, Australia has so much talent.
Yeah. I think
and it's really humbling to be able to put on this night when every other day or night of the year, I might be talking to these people professionally.
Yeah.
But here's one night where we can throw a gala event for them and celebrate them, and they really, really deserve it.
because they are our cyber defenders, and I think if you were nominated at all, that is a huge achievement. So congratulations to everyone there.
So just some individual winners. Jack Reese of Bidem, Indigenous Cybersecurity Leader of the Year. Microsoft Tanya Ezra, Female Cybersecurity Leader of the Year.
And fantastic opening to the summit as well, the keynote.
Yes. Oh, she was marvelous.
Yeah, she was
really
great.
was, yeah. Then we had group winners, people like Atura as Cloud Service Provider of the Year, AU Cyber as Endpoint Security Provider of the Year, and one of the big winners of the night,
Excellence
UNSW's
Award.
Derek Winter. He'd already picked up CISO of the Year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not nothing.
No, that's a huge award.
But then he picked up the Excellence Award. Like, just how good is that guy? Yeah. It was a fun night, and for those of you who were listening, yes, we are aware there were some sound issues. We are working on that.
Yeah, lessons learned.
We have a very, very dedicated and experienced events team, and they're actually now looking ahead to our sister site Defence Connect. We're running their. No, I write for them, so I can say we, I guess. We are running our Australian Defence Industry Awards next week at the same venue, and we are absolutely dialed in to deal with those sound issues.
Yeah.
But it was it's always a great night. I really like it because, one, we get people coming up to Daniel and I going, oh, we really like your podcast.
You feel like a celebrity.
You do a little. Yeah. I mean, you're a little bit more easy to pick out than I am for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's a bit of a branding thing.
But it's nice. You get to put a face to so many names, and that's really, really important.
Yeah.
We get to go out and meet the people that we read their press releases, we publish their op-eds.
Write about their work.
In some cases, we'll deal with them on crisis communications issues because, a lot of legal stuff comes, law and cyber is a whole thing.
Yeah, they're like that.
So, it's nice to reward these people and celebrate them because they really, really do deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you ran some amazing panels.
Thank you very much.
No, genuinely. So for all those that submitted questions, I was the one screening them back in the green room, hidden away. And there was some really great questions, but it's because the panels were interesting. And I'm not just saying that because, I work here. I'm saying it because I was really, really invested all day, and including the panels that you did, because they were fantastic.
I mean, and we always collect feedback about these events, and apparently it's not just us saying it, people really enjoyed it. So if you didn't come this year, make a point to come next year, because they are great events. We plan on making them better and better every year. Bigger, better, brighter, hopefully louder.
Think of it this way: every time you go, you're going to the best one yet.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not even out of line, and he's not wrong. All right, I think that is enough from us for this episode of Cyber Uncut. You know where to find us, www.cyberdaily.au. We are on LinkedIn. We are on X. Where else are we?
Well, I just got Mastodon.
Actually, we're both on Mastodon personally. Yep.
So,
which is well worthwhile because it's not X. We're looking at getting on Blue Sky, aren't we?
Blue Sky would be good.
Yeah.
I think Blue Sky
one of our fellows on Australian Aviation? Or was it Aviation? It's Australian Aviation.
It is, and he will absolutely punish you for getting that wrong.
I know. I can't wait for you to listen to this. But yeah, he's an absolute Blue Sky evangelist, so we will no doubt get on there at some point. There is our newsletter you can sign up to get us in your inbox every morning. Until next week, thank you for listening. I'm David Hollingworth.
And I'm Daniel Croft.
Goodbye.
See ya.